why posting Rightmove Pie Charts actually works. Can you believe this heretic, Dan Marsden, says that you should be willy waving your Rightmove Pie Charts till the cows come home? Why is that? Talk to me, Dan.
Right. We're going to qualify this first, Chris. I never mentioned Rightmove. So, disclaimer. What I'm saying...
You said market share. Same.
No, that's not, you see, because I know that some of these figures can be manipulated and massaged to show a very different picture. So I'm going to park the word Rightmove, but I do think if you've got a big willy, wave it, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I've always said, you know, you should always be very proud of your willy, but it's when you start waving it in my face, that's when we have a problem.
Okay.
But
it's difficult to disagree with that one.
It's out and out bragging, the fact that you are having to compare yourself with someone else.
And this is where we have always fundamentally disagreed. And I will add a caveat here only based on what we talked about earlier. So, data available by a few people, but notably you are a massive fanboy, as am I. 20EA produced data that shows the number of listings, gross listings, to the number of properties that have gone sole subject to contract to those then converted again. So conversion of pipeline to exchanged, price reductions, number of time it's taking to get these things done. So if I'm starting, so the gross figure for me is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. How many properties you took on this year is absolutely irrelevant to me. So when I'm talking about having a big willy, right, you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, because you've got to look at the gross is not important. What's actually important is how many houses did I actually sell this year? Not how many listings did I take on. Doesn't make you the best agent. How many did I actually sell? But what I'd like, Chris, if we're going to do this, what I would like to see in an agent's window, and no agent in the land would do it, took on 100, sold 52. That's in your window. Because if you're proud of your job and you're proud of what you're doing as a business, why would you not give the full picture? So if you're taking on 100 houses but you're only selling 52, it doesn't make you the best agent in town. If you're taking on 75 but you're selling 65, you're the best agent in town. So I think agents need to be more honest, and this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen, because why would anybody give the general public the raw truth on the data? If you know as well as I do, if you were to put the CT postcode into the insights platform for 20EA, you will see comprehensive data on a rolling 12 months or a time period, whatever it is, to show you on the numbers actually who is the best agent.
If you're judging best by actually getting the job done.
Correct. If time's the most important thing, you're looking at completion times or time it's taken to get these deals done. If you're looking at an agent who's just the loudest in the area, doesn't make them the best agent. And you and I both, that's where we do agree. I think conversion of pipeline makes you the best agent. 100%. There is no other metric for me. If I'm giving my house to somebody, I want some confidence that it's going to happen timely. You're going to get me every penny you can. And we don't disagree on this. The pie charts you're talking about, I don't, when we talk about data...
You see, I agree with you in the fact that my issue with Rightmove Pie Charts is that you're comparing yourself against the competition.
See, I like that.
Okay. I'm of the opinion that you should compare yourself only against yourself.
Yeah. See, I think that's a bit woo-woo. I think healthy competition, but I think there has to be open. You have to be open about the information.
Okay, so
no one's going to do that.
Okay, I would be, if you had a good conversion rate of exchange to listing.
Yeah.
I would be saying this, that my agency, let's say I was based in Grantham, will sell 83 or out of 100 homes that we put on the market.
Yeah.
Whilst the average in Grantham,
yeah.
the average in Grantham is 62.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm with you.
100%.
And look at the price reduction as well. How much over asking did you do? What does that look like? You know, you listed the house for 450. what did it sell for? You do that across all of the
And the
stuff
way
you carried.
but the way you package that and the way you put that across in the message is vital. Agents are just lazy because they just want to put it's the pie chart. No, if you give that to a member of the public,
Yeah.
it's lazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that much.
We sold more houses in Canterbury last year than anybody else. Yeah, that is lazy, and it's not actually truthful, because I know actually in that postcode, when you look at the real story, actually the number 2 agent in Canterbury is the best agent in Canterbury based on success, based on price reduction data, based on the time it took them to do it, not the number 1 agent on volume. So 100% I do agree with you on that. What I don't agree with you on is that market share isn't important to people when making a buying decision. Now, and I know I've quoted this before, if I need heart surgery and I've got to pick a surgeon, am I picking, and I know John Paul says, am I picking the guy that drives a Maserati and has done 1,000 successful operations this year? Or am I going to choose the cheeky chappie who's done 27 this year? And I'm going to choose the guy that clearly is the best surgeon. It's how we define best. And I think that's where we agree. What does best actually mean? For me, and it is only my opinion, for me, the best agent is the agent that starts up front with expert advice. And we've talked about that many times. It's the agent that I think that can take on 100 houses and get close to 100 sold. It's the agent that doesn't need to price reduce after 3 weeks on the market because they overpriced it. It's the agent that can actually communicate with you and doesn't just send you a bill and send you the keys on completion, whatever you're doing. For me, that's the agent. I talked to Chris this morning, saw his agent twice in the whole thing. Saw him at the front end, saw him when they did completion, didn't really hear much in between. It wasn't a great experience. So the best agent also, aside from all of the conversion stuff and doing the very best job, and look, there are loads of agents out there who are amazing and do a great job.
And what is particularly interesting is is that the self-employed models or personal agents generally have a much higher percentage.
Yeah. And I think, look, for me being the the grumpy old sod of with estate agents, I have been following very closely lots of these self-employed agents over the last few years, and I have to say they're the ones that have impressed me the most. You've got the guys that work for the big brands who do know their markets back to front, the posh agents, and I've worked for a couple of those. They are incredible agents, a lot of those guys, and they attract some very fantastic people. They also attract some not so great people. The self-employed crowd, I have to say, those that are succeeding in that environment where they've had to eat what they kill, have been immensely impressive. And look, there are loads out there, but there are a couple of them out there that are now niching down on the luxury end of the market. And that is a very, very tough market and very cash heavy. So Ross, I think, is one that springs to mind. You've got someone like Ben Madden, Fine and Country. For me, it's agents like that, and it's agents that know their market back to front, and it's agents who just get it. But I think, generally speaking, I think that's what best is. You've got to mix that experience. You've got someone who's a great storyteller, somebody who understands their numbers back to front, and somebody who can say, out of 100, we didn't sell this many, we sold this many. That's it for me.
Yeah, it's the people that the ultimate accolade is the people you don't sell houses for. I basically said, I didn't sell it, but boy, they had my back.
Exactly. And the other thing, that's absolutely it. I mean, John Paul said recently, I think on one of the Facebook groups that you run, if you've got an agent who does what they say they'll do, when they say they'll do it, they're already ahead of 75% of the crowd. And I think he's right. And so that communication piece, and there's never been an easier time to communicate with clients with the software available to people now. It's super simple. You can automate half of this stuff. Not communicating with clients, not giving people a proper client journey is inexcusable, because that stuff is free. It doesn't cost you money to pick up a phone and update people, even if there's no news. It's not difficult, although it is difficult for lots of people to deliver not so great news. But that communication piece, if you can do that well, I think you're already ahead of most of the competition too. So best doesn't just mean numbers. Best 100% means client journey. So even if it goes wrong and it's not your fault, but you've held their hand throughout, you've been there and you've updated, you're still the best agent.
Thank you for your time today. Do you agree with what Dan and I say? Or are we talking a lot of rubbish? Put things in the comments.